Self-care. Taking care of yourself is crucial to the recovery process because getting clean and sober is so much more than just stopping the drinking and stopping the drugging or stopping whatever addiction you're struggling with. Being in a good place mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically is the best way to ensure that you will not slip when you're triggered, because you will be triggered at times. And this means you take care of your personal needs first. Hello, my friend, and welcome to another episode of I Love Being Sober, sponsored by Camelback Recovery, Arizona's preferred sober living option to help AA newcomers stay sober during their first year in the program. If that's you or someone you know, then you're in the right place, because my name is Tim Westbrook, and I'm the CEO and founder of Camelback Recovery here in the always sunny and always sober Scottsdale, Arizona, where my team and I, over the course of many years, have helped thousands of people to stop their suffering and continue on their path to recovery. Let's get clear on one thing. We believe that a relapse or a slip is not a part of recovery. And that's exactly why this podcast is dedicated to you or any loved one you know in their first year of striving to live a clean and sober life. The purpose of this podcast is to come clean with all of the misinformation that's out there about recovery, addiction treatment, mental illness, and the strategies to stay sober in general. So if you believe you're in the right place, or if you know someone who is struggling with addiction, it's my privilege to share this podcast with you. Now, I have no idea if you and I have ever met, but what I do know is that AA saved my life. And I also know that to find long-term recovery and live happy, joyous, and free, it's not just about stopping your drinking, drugging, gambling, sexual indiscretions, or any other addiction you may have struggled with or suffered from. Because at Camelback Recovery, we believe that sobriety could and should be fun. And look, any recovery process is not easy. It is challenging. It can sometimes be annoying, and for the most of us, it is often difficult to stay on the path. But here's the good news. The self-awareness you gain from listening to this podcast, especially if you are in your first year of recovery, will help you make better choices, which will ultimately lead you to living a kick-ass sober life. Visit CamelbackRecovery.com to learn more about our treatment strategies for alcoholism, drug addiction, or mental illness. And we even offer recovery coaching so that you can enjoy the freedom and happiness you've always searched for. Welcome to the 76th episode of I Love Being Sober, the show devoted to people in their first year of sobriety. If you are pressed for time, listen at 1.5 times speed and you will still get all the content from this episode. No need to take notes because I've paid a professional note taker to do that for you. The notes to this and other episodes are available when you look for them at ilovebeingsober.com. Please do that when you're done listening to this episode. You'll be glad you did. And that's my personal pledge to you for listening in its entirety. Now, although your first year in sobriety is central to our discussions, you and I will also explore other fascinating and important topics such as health and fitness, self-care, food and nutrition, breath work, and biohacking, just to name a few. All of these things are your gateway to living a kick-ass sober life, which is our mantra at Camelback Recovery. In this episode, number 76, you'll learn about the fifth secret, which I believe is critical to avoiding a relapse. You'll discover that self-care, taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally is imperative, along with why it's so important if you want to avoid a slip. I will share what self-care looks like for me. I'm also going to give you some suggestions on how self-care can look for you. And based upon what you hear, you'll be able to figure out how it works for you. So lean in and listen carefully, because this episode could have a significant impact on how you can make it to a year and much closer to living a kick-ass sober life. Also, this podcast is like an AA meeting in that everyone here is either clean and sober, struggling, about to slip, about to relapse. They're thinking about getting clean and sober, or whatever it may be. So if you hear anything that resonates with you, or if you learned anything throughout this episode, please let us know in the comment section of YouTube or Apple, iTunes, or wherever you're listening. What you share might resonate with someone else and possibly save them from a relapse, or maybe even save their life. So don't be shy, and be sure to share what resonates with you in the comment section. Every review and every comment gets us that much closer to helping one more person or one more family. Self-care. Taking care of yourself is crucial to the recovery process, because getting clean and sober is so much more than just stopping the drinking and stopping the drugging or stopping whatever addiction you're struggling with. Being in a good place mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically is the best way to ensure that you will not slip when you're triggered, because you will be triggered at times. And this means you take care of your personal needs first. Just like if an airplane goes down, you must give yourself oxygen before you start helping others. If you don't give yourself oxygen first, you're not going to make it. And if you don't make it, you're not any good for anybody else. If you don't take care of yourself, you will not be able to avoid a relapse when you are triggered, especially if you're in your first year. If you relapse, you are no good for anybody. You are no good for your loved ones, your kids, your wife, your parents, your siblings. You're no good to anybody. Self-care is a huge priority in my life, and it has been a huge priority in my life ever since I first got clean and sober. I used to not take care of myself, and I used to put other people first. I was a people pleaser. I had codependency, full throttle. Self-care is how I take care of my mind, body, and spirit today. Self-care is how I make myself, or I promote my spiritual fitness. And I'm good. I'm a good person, and I'm stable, and I'm grounded, and I'm secure, and I'm doing the right things, and I'm responsible because I take care of myself. And I used to hear, there have been people that have said to me, they've made comments to me kind of joking, hey, big self-care day today, huh, Tim? And yeah, it is a big self-care day. Every day is a big self-care day. It's a big self-care day because I have to take care of myself if I want to stay grounded and I want to stay on the path to recovery. That's how I'm a good person, and that's how I'm going to be able to continue helping other people. So ways that I take care of myself, I make sure I get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single day. I wake up an hour before I have any commitments. So I'm not hitting the snooze button 5 times and running out the door to make it to an appointment on time and coming up with some lame excuse like I ran out of gas, or I got a flat tire, or some other reason why I was late, which is what I used to always do. So with this hour, I do breath work, I pray, and I meditate. I do that every day. That's the very first thing that I do. I spend time with Wayne. Wayne's my dog. He's my Aussie Doodle, and he's adorable, and he's so cute. And I love just giving him a little hug in the morning and taking him outside. I fill out my existence system. In my existence system, I got this from Robert Gruler, who's a good friend of mine. And the existence system includes it has lots of different components to it, including my gratitude list. So I do my gratitude list. I do that first. And I share my gratitude list with other alcoholics or other people in the program. I've got a gratitude text string with a bunch of guys. There's about 10 guys on that text string. We share gratitudes. I have a few other guys that I share my gratitude list with. I know that I got to be in gratitude. If I'm in gratitude, I'm not a victim. If I'm in gratitude, I'm thinking about the things that are going well. And I know that I have to be grateful for every single thing in my life. I journal, I read, I study, I listen to podcasts, I listen to audiobooks, I do red light therapy, I exercise. I exercise almost every single day. And exercise for me is exercise is not just physical. Exercise is physical, but it's also mental, spiritual, emotional. And for me, I do F4. Right now, I'm doing F45, which is a 45-minute high-intensity interval training class. I love it. I don't have to think about anything. All I do is I show up, I laugh, I banter with the other people that are there. It's another community. I work hard, I sweat, and it's over in 45 minutes. I run, I hike, I bike. There's a lot of things that I do to take care. I do yoga. So those are kind of the things that I do. Exercise and fitness, in my opinion, in my experience, is a great way to take care of yourself. And everybody has a different level of exercise or physical fitness that they're even able to do. So whether it's a walk in the park, a walk around the block, or if you're running 10 miles, like everybody has a different level. Whatever it looks like for you, it's important to get your body moving and to get the blood flowing. And actually, I just listened to another podcast with Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she talked about the benefits of getting in a sauna. And I also do an infrared sauna probably 5 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes. And if you're not able to exercise, because some people are not able to exercise, you can sit in the sauna and you get a lot of the same benefits as exercising from just being in a sauna, because it increases your heart rate. And so it's kind of like your body thinks that you're exercising, and you start to sweat out the toxins, especially if you're recently clean and sober, sweating out the toxins, getting your blood flowing, getting your blood circulating, increasing your heart rate. These are all things, you're creating stress. And stress is a good thing to create, because stress is what creates resilience. Stress is what creates a stronger immune system. So whatever you need to do, you can do exercise, you can hop in a sauna, or you can do both. And then red light therapy, as I said, and there's lots of benefits to doing red light therapy, which you can do your research on. Ice bath, I do an ice bath. Again, that's strengthening the immune system and strengthening my mental, emotional, and physical mind. Staying connected with other alcoholics. I also go to the chiropractor on a weekly basis. I get my hair cut every 3 weeks. I have a naturopath that I see. I have comprehensive blood work done every 6 months. I never did that before I got clean and sober. And these are the things that I do. I just want to take care of myself and make sure that I'm in a good place. And if I'm in a good place, I can take care of other people. It doesn't need to be all about Tim, but my self-care needs to be all about Tim, which makes me a better person for other people. And I can be of service, be a good example, and kind of lead the road, lead the path, be the leader. So ways that you can take care of your mind, body, and spirit are going to include yoga, hiking, running, biking, walking, any type of exercise or any type of movement, a sauna or an infrared sauna, an ice bath, prayer, meditation, reading, any type of learning, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, any type of learning. Stay away from constant negative news. The negativity is toxic, and that's not going to help you. Going to see your therapist, watching a movie, taking a nap, getting enough sleep, getting a haircut, going to your doctor on a regular basis, going to the dentist on a regular basis. I go get my teeth cleaned once every 6 months. These are the things I do. My experience is that having a solid morning routine is the best way to get grounded and set myself up for a successful day. And doing this day after day sets me up for a successful life. If you don't have a morning routine, that might be a good place to start. Set yourself up for a successful day. Set yourself up for a successful life. There's a podcast interview I did with 𝐿_Elrod called The Miracle Morning for Addiction Recovery, Becoming a Better You One Morning at a Time with 𝐿_Elrod. Hal is a New York Times bestselling author, and his Miracle Morning books have over 10,000 5-star reviews on Amazon. He is an amazing speaker. He has an amazing message. That interview should give you some great ways to develop your own morning routine if that's something that you want to look into. Now, most of the things that I've gone over in this episode were not priorities while you were in your addiction. It is a necessity to take care of yourself if you want long-term sobriety, period. If you want to avoid a relapse, you must take care of yourself and you must make self-care a priority. So here's a quick review about the insights you and I both rediscovered in this 76th episode of I Love Being Sober. Self-care is imperative if you want to avoid a relapse. And I went over why it's so important to make self-care a priority. I shared my experience with how I take care of myself and how I make self-care a priority, along with I gave you some suggestions on how you can incorporate self-care into your day and how you can create your own morning routine. Based upon everything you've heard in this episode, hopefully you can figure out how it works for you. And remember, these insights will only work for you if you work them. So please make sure you apply what you've learned in this episode of I Love Being Sober, because if you do, you will be on your way to living a kick-ass sober life. I think you'll agree that's exciting to think about. And speaking of reviews, before we end this episode, I want you to go to the reviews section on YouTube or iTunes or wherever you're listening and type in one thing that resonated with you in this episode. Every comment counts, and what you share could resonate with someone else that is struggling and potentially save their life. You will also be asked to rate this episode, and I hope I've earned 5 stars from you. So go ahead and share the one thing that resonated with you in the reviews section wherever you're listening. It'll take just 3 minutes out of your day, but what you share could not only save you from a relapse, but it could also save someone else's life. Okay, that does it for this week. I'm Tim Westbrook, and I hope that our paths cross again next week for I Love Being Sober, the show devoted to people in their first year of sobriety. Hope that sounds like a plan to you. And do whatever it takes to join me for episode number 77. We're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that lead to a relapse, along with how to avoid them. I encourage you to invite a friend, a loved one, or a sponsee to listen to I Love Being Sober. I can't wait to connect with you then. It will be an insightful episode, so I really want you to join us with your loved one.